Welcome to a pod of Wings and Filth, where two voracious fantasy readers dive into the magical, gritty, and sometimes downright filthy world of fantasy.
On this podcast, we chat about our favorite fantasy books, from dragons to magic to the dark and twisted corners of fantastical realms.
I'm Morgan, and I don't think all female leads need to be not like the other girls. Maybe she loves pretty dresses and stabbing people.
And I'm Heather, and I prefer reading and writing in the third person.
We've got a lot of opinions, a lot of passion, and even more books to talk about. So grab your favorite brew, maybe a magical artifact or two, and join us as we get into all things magic, wings, and a little bit of filth.
Content warning. Expect spice, swearing, spoilers, and strong opinions on dubious character choices. This is an adult show meant to discuss adult things, unfiltered, for an adult audience. Today's episode will contain spoilers for all of the Songbird and the Heart of Stone. So if you're not ready for unhinged fandom, turn back now. Otherwise, spread your wings, grow your horns, and let's get filthy.
Hi, Heather.
Hi, Morgan. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to talk about Mische's story.
Me too. I admit I had a little bit of resistance because I know this one's going to hurt me.
This one has emotional devastation in sort of a new and somehow even more challenging way. Carissa finds new layers of our hearts to rip open with this one.
I think I read this one after Mother of Death and Dawn. And yeah, and then I'd read both of the standalones with Nyaxia also. So I think I had read everything by the time this one came out. So I can kind of predict that I'm going to go through pain and I can expect emotional trauma. But I did not expect this. And I love that so much about her. She can find these new, deep, beautiful levels of humanity, and she explores them through these wonderful, interesting, complex, and layered characters.
Well, yeah. You think Mische is one thing, and then because you get a lot of Mische in books 1 and 2 in the Nightborn duet, which I was tempted to put in our spoiler warning that, like, spoilers also for Serpent and Ashes. But I have a hard time believing that you are reading Songbird and the Heart of Stone and you haven't read those first two. So I didn't include that. But if y'all need it, we will obviously be referencing Serpent and the Wings of Night and Ashes and the Stalker's King, which hopefully you have already been listening to our deep dives and you are very familiar with. But we learn so much about Mische through Rain and Aurea's POV. But this is all Mische. And you learn so much more about her. She's not just the goofy, friendly side character. She's so much more. And it's so beautiful. I love it so much.
I think I always knew on some level that there was more to her. Because, first of all, Carissa doesn't write one-dimensional characters. None. Like none. I like to mix them up when I'm writing, but not her. She's like, you got to care. I bet you if you're like, hey, that guy you mentioned one time that didn't have a name, can you tell me his backstory? I'm sure she's got it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I kind of knew, in fairness, I wasn't as familiar with her when I read the first two Nyaxia books because they were also some of the first romantasy books I'd read. Sure. So I really, really was thinking, there's no way that this character would be so, positive and content and happy and like just cool to be at the Kajari, y'all.
Exactly.
Like, there's no way, especially as a vampire. Then she was a priestess of another god. Like, really start thinking about it. And you're like, oh, no. There's a story behind this. And clearly that was intentional on Carissa's behalf. But yeah, I don't think I picked up on that the first time because I didn't know. That's what's beautiful about rereads too, is you get to see things that you didn't see before and get to pick up all those little extra notes, and they make things so much more meaningful.
Yeah.
So the first time I read this, I was like, oh, wow. Mm-hmm. And also, you are a master of avoidance, my dear.
Yeah, we will get into that. Okay, I'm going to read my summary, and then I think I am going to read the content warning that's in the book, just because I want to make sure we talk about some of those pieces at the top because they're important. But here we go. Part 1, Life, throws Mische into the dungeons of the House of Shadow, gift-wrapped by Princess Ygritte for Daddy King Raoul's as payback for killing Malach. Her sun magic is gone, Atroxus is MIA, and death is seconds away, until Asar, the illegitimate heir / wraith warden, swoops in, drags her to Morthrin, the vampire prison from hell. Why? Because Nyaxia wants her to help resurrect Alarus, god of death. Atroxus finally shows up in her dreams with a second agenda. Play along, raise Alarus, then kill him. No pressure. Oh, and a ghost wolf dog named Lucy shows up just to make things emotionally confusing. Part 2, Body, kicks off the descent to the underworld with Mische, Asar, Chandra, freshly resurrected Acolyte, and Elias, perpetually grumpy egret guard. Their mission, survive 5 sanctums: body, breath, psyche, secrets, soul, to rebuild Alarus's essence. Rule 1, stay on the path. Don't wake the guardians. Naturally, they screw it up immediately, forcing Mische to torch monsters with Atroxus's fire. In the sanctum of body, it's mushroom rot, corpse-hungry undead, and a giant bird guardian standing between them and relic number 1. Haunted by ghosts of her past and her own magical and internal limits, Mische still manages to save Asar from wraiths. Back in Morthrin's walls, pushing him to admit, barely, that he needs her help, but she needs to embrace her Shadowborn power if she wants to survive. Oh,
Ooh. All right, so give us that the
content
content
warning.
warning at the beginning, because Carissa doesn't typically have these,
Mm.
but I think that this was very, very thoughtful, and I'm glad that she put it at the beginning.
Me too. I think this story in particular, Misha's story, touches on some topics that you just, if you don't claim these, people, not only are people going to be mad, but people might get actually like hurt. Um,
Yes.
okay, so the note says, please note that this book contains subject matter that may be difficult for some readers, including graphic violence, on-page sexual content, discussion of grooming and child abuse, and infant death off-page. The important piece I wanted to note was the grooming and child abuse,
Yes.
because that is what her relationship is with Atroxus.
Yes.
She is chosen as a child bride of his.
We just see the early stages of it at this point in the first 2 parts
Right.
that we're getting into today.
Mhm.
But I think, and I've read plenty of stories over time where I've seen exactly this demonstrated, and there's been few occasions where I've seen it done as well in a
Mhm.
fictional telling
Right.
as in this story. It was very, very well done. It also wasn't just like putting a too fine a point on it either. It
Mhm.
felt very natural and organic, and it was also a really good way, I think, of teaching somebody about that without telling them you were teaching them.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that because there are a lot of ways that through Misha's innocence as a child, but also just in general, that's just who she is. She is an innocent being that we get to see not only the parts that are big and blatant and obvious, like, oh, she's a child bride of this sun god, but also we get to see the more nuanced parts, the parts that actually were good, as weird as that is, the
Yeah,
parts that led her and her sister to actually their first experience of safety ever in their lives. And again, that's where part of the abuse comes in, right? Like they offered something that they didn't have. I think is really well done. Carissa Broadbent doesn't do anything unintentionally. I trust
100%.
deeply that if it's on the page, it needs to be there. If it's in the story, it needs to be there for a reason. So there's nothing ever gratuitous or exploitative about these topics. They're important.
I agree. I agree. I think one of the best bits of advice, and also just understanding about storytelling and why some are impactful and some are just fun or silly, and the difference between the two. I was
Mm,
reading Stephen King's on writing, and this is one of those interesting like paradoxes that I get stuck in all the time where I love Stephen King's style of writing. I think he's a fantastic writer. I think he's an interesting writer. I don't really like his genre.
right.
It's
It's
not
not
really
my
for me.
jam. It's not
No,
my jam either.
I will read some of his books and enjoy them and I appreciate them, but I'm never going to read them like the way I'll read something like Carissa or Sarah J. Maas or Rebecca
Mhm.
Yarros. But I enjoy his style of writing and the way he creates characters enough that I will read some of his books even though it's not something I'm super into because I trust him. And
Right.
the stories are about the people. That's the thing about Stephen
Mhm.
King. It's not about the horror. It's not about all the things. It's about the people. And I feel like it's the same with Carissa. And one of the things that Stephen King said in that book that has stuck with me since is when you're writing, you have to tell the truth.
Mm.
So you can,
Oh, wow.
yeah, you can follow the plot, you can follow the story all you want, but you have to tell the truth. So whatever that looks like, that's what's going to end up on the page.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ooh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I would
Yeah.
never think that that would come from Stephen King, but also, beloved.
Yes, yes. And I think it boils down to empathy
Mm.
and understanding people. And I bring that up now because I feel like, just to piggyback what you already pointed out with Carissa, is nothing ever ends up on the page without intention, because that's what she's doing. She's telling the truth of each and every one of these characters.
Yeah.
And that's why her worlds feel very real.
Yes, even though they are truly mystical, magical, like Obitrace does not exist anywhere in our known world. But yeah, they feel so not just visceral, that's a part of it, but they feel very real. I think you're right. There's something about it where it's like, oh, I can imagine this person in real life, even though I've never seen to my knowledge, met a vampire or a god or an undead wolf dog.
I hope we meet an undead wolf dog at some
I
point, though.
I would only if it is like Lucy. Only if it
Agreed.
is like Lucy.
Lucy is
Who
the
I read
best.
as Luce, but in the audiobook is pronounced Lucy.
Same.
I checked. Hmm.
I also discovered something awesome on Audibles that I hadn't noticed before. It has a little add note thing so you can add your notes as you're doing it, which,
Oh, that's cool.
yes. So I started doing it with this one. I'm like, oh, I could just leave my notes here. And then I can highlight them and add them for our notes for the show and make sense of my madness rather than doing the
Sure.
handwriting, which I enjoy, but it's time consuming. It takes me
It's
out of the
different.
moment sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I miss out on the audio a little bit more when I do it that way.
Mm.
But yeah, I did the same thing. I'm like, so many of these words are and
Oh,
names.
yeah.
I'm like, they're difficult. They're gonna come out funny.
We joke constantly on this podcast that these fantasy names are the goofiest, silliest. They become very real, of course. You come to love the character, but it takes a while sometimes to adjust my human world brain to some of these names and spellings and pronunciations. And also reading it, because most of the time I read it, I don't listen to it. I make a point to listen to parts of it before we record so I get the pronunciations right. But I could be totally making up the way these are pronounced in my head the whole fucking time and not know otherwise.
Sometimes it's hard for me to change it even after I've heard the correct pronunciation. It's like singing the wrong words to a song for like 5 years.
Yes, the
And
misheard lyrics.
yes, and then you hear it and you're like, oh, there's a Michael Jackson song that I always think that he sang pork chops and applesauce when I was a kid. And I know the lyrics to it now, but I still sing and applesauce, applesauce. And I'm an adult now, but that's what I
Mhm.
used to sing when I was a kid. So it stays the
That's
same.
funny.
I do that with names sometimes too.
Mhm.
Or I hear them in my head a certain way, and that is not how they come out of my mouth.
Also that. Also
Yeah.
that. I think I have been reading Morthrin as Mothrin.
Me too.
And I'm like, oh, there's an R in there.
Yep.
There is an R in.
There sure is.
So we ended Ashes in the Starcursed King with Mische leaving the House of Night and this like beautiful, shiny, newborn rule of the Nightborn house, the House of Night, with Rain and Aurea. And Mische has sort of gone off on her own adventure. So we get a little bit of a record scratch into Mische being captured by the Shadowborn for basically murdering their prince. Oops.
Yeah.
Who was her
Yeah.
maker.
And that is part of the reason she wanted to leave Aurea and Rain, because she didn't want to bring more trouble to their door.
We have talked about self-sacrificing.
Yeah.
This is Mische's first and not last.
Nope. I think in my notes somewhere I wrote martyr, 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 martyr.
Oh,
I love a good martyr though. A lot of times those characters are most interesting because it's interesting to find out how they got to be that way. Yeah, so she's a prisoner and she's brought before the court.
we have gotten so used to the House of Night court and understanding that structure and what that looks like. And so the Shadowborn's magic is mental, right? It's all being able to make you see stuff, being able to control you through your mind.
And read your
Um,
mind.
and read your mind, which there are some moments with Mische and Asar where she tells him to get the fuck out of her head. And it's just so funny. But in the court, we also find out that maybe their king is declining.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say he's caught at least a little bit of the dementia.
Just
Certainly.
at least a little. There were some like clumsy at best ways of masking his forgetfulness. Like he thought King Neculi was still alive at one point. He then even referenced Vincent as if he was alive.
And then his daughter, she's trying to cover up for it a bit, but I
Mhm,
found it I think that you're right too that it was going on for a bit at this
mhm.
point because the court didn't react to it.
Didn't blink at all.
Nope. Nope. But then I remember that how important it is to show strength in these worlds. The Shadowborn's most powerful strength is their mind, and he's weak there. They can't let anybody know that.
I thought that was actually particularly beautiful. Like that was one of those little twisty moments you're not expecting that Carissa puts in there. You're like, oh yeah, like how do I show this incredibly powerful ancient being as actually more weak? And you use, right? You use the lens with which they view strength, which is their mind. I loved that. I thought that was really beautiful. And it's one of our first, probably not the first, but one of the first moments where Misha and her empathy get in the way.
Yes.
Because immediately she's like, this is deadly. Like, this is not just, oh, the king can be viewed as weak. At one point, his magic goes like haywire and hurts everyone in the room. Like, everyone's clutching their heads and screaming. And she's like, hello? This is dangerous. Like, this is going to hurt everyone in the room. And I thought that was just kind of funny. I was like, Misha, you need to save your own neck in this moment.
Exactly.
You need to be focusing on you.
If she's solving other people's problems, then she doesn't have to deal with her own,
Correct. And hers are so painful.
which is why she's so adamantly ready to help everybody, even her enemies. But yeah, so this court is already dangerous,
Mhm.
and now it's even more dangerous. And also because Ygritte, the daughter,
The
she
princess.
obviously is going to want to take her father's place.
Yeah,
And
she wants the
now,
power.
yeah, and now it was Malak, right? Is that
Yeah,
how we said
yeah,
Malak? Malak is dead, and he would have been the usurper in this particular story, but now he's gone.
sure.
So Ygritte has a much better chance at taking the throne. And then we find out that there is Asar, the Wraith
Yeah,
Warden, who is a
who's,
half brother.
yeah, a bastard, right?
But he's still a prince.
He is still a prince. And interestingly enough, there's this sort of cognitive dissonance thing that happens. And I think it's on purpose, like I was just saying, if it's Carissa, it's on purpose. I just don't understand it yet. He is the illegitimate son, but they have tasked him with caring for this ancient prison. So he's the Wraith Warden. He protects basically not just the entrance to the underworld, but it is this ancient prison. The prison sort of sits on the top, and the entrance to the underworld lives underneath it. That seems like an important job. And yet you gave it to this like unimportant person. Like they're constantly trying to dismiss him. And I was like, you just gave him access to something that gives him immense power.
It isn't all that wise, is it? It's
Right.
very interesting. Also, Asar himself, while cursed, is still very powerful. He's incredibly powerful.
Mm,
I love Mary Shelley,
mm,
and I definitely have Dr. Frankenstein vibes from Asar. There's a
mhm.
lot of parallels that I drew between the two of them.
Sure.
And
Let
he does
alone all of the resurrection of dead.
the resurrection of the dead, the science aspect of it,
Mhm.
because again, that's not something we see a lot in these kinds of novels, but there is a bit of that comes into it, the magic and the science together, which I think is really, really cool. But yeah, he's tasked with his, as Morgan said, very, very important job in Morthrin. So I guess like every kingdom has their own like kind of magical place. I don't
Yeah.
remember what the Bloodborns is, but Morthrin,
Oh,
it's something it's like
they say
fields
it
or
at the
barrens or
beginning.
something.
Yeah, they're the fields where Alarus was killed, I think.
Yeah.
Well, and we also find out killed maybe means not dead in this moment.
Yeah.
Not fully dead because he's a god.
There's
How do you
levels
kill
of
a
dead.
god? There's levels of dead.
There
There's levels of we ripped you apart. I don't know. But yeah, I think the Bloodborne. So the House of Night has the Moon
Moon
Palace,
Palace.
which is their like ancient magical place. The Shadowborn have Morthrin, and then yeah, the Bloodborne have the barren fields where he was murdered, and it apparently holds a lot of ancient magic in it. That one feels the most lame to me, but
That's what I thought too. I'm like, this is
we'll
really
find
weird, but
out.
I'm sure we'll find out, and it won't be lame. It'll end up being great. But I agree, it sounds like it,
Exactly.
but
But
it'll
also,
be
I think
great.
that, again, talk about intentional. We are supposed to dismiss the Bloodborne in all of these stories. They
That's
are,
true.
right? They are
That's
supposed to seem like I think Mische at one point describes them as like a rabid dog. Like they're
yeah,
dangerous in the way a rabid dog would be. And I was like, ooh, girl, tell me you have some prejudices without telling me you have some
yeah,
prejudices.
yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
So the other aspect of it that I think is really interesting, and we don't see as much, I feel like in at least contemporary stories, contemporary fantasy, is this underworld and the levels of death. Like, the first thing I think of is Odysseus and the Odyssey, and I'm like,
Mm.
I go right to that, and then I started thinking, what other stories have, like, done something kinda like this? And I couldn't really think of anything else where there were, like, actual I
Oh,
think maybe Percy Jackson, um,
I
but
think you could make an argument that the Hercules stories.
yeah, yeah, so we go back to the Greek
Mhm,
mythos. It exists
mhm,
there, but outside of that and anything recently,
mhm.
I can't think of anything where anybody kind of, like, went into this, and I didn't think about it the first time reading it, but, like, this is really cool because I
Yeah.
didn't know what I was getting into the first time, so I was just kinda there
Yep.
for, "Oh, this is what we're doing, this is where we are," also totally scared of every moment because this one is
Yeah.
also actually a little bit scary at points.
This one is scary. I was talking about this with Patrick yesterday. The difference between the Nightborn duet and this, and what I'm assuming will be the Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk as well, which is second in this duology, is the change in the quality of the action. So in Serpent, in the Nightborn duet, it's all about the trials, the Kajari, the fighting, the wars, the like literal life and death because sword and magic. Like we are fighting, like capital F fighting. In this, we are literally descending into the levels of hell and the
Yes.
underworld. Like the danger element is just qualitatively different.
Oh, yeah.
It's more like looming danger and like creeping danger. And there are moments of action, certainly, where we
Mhm.
have to battle the bird guardian or we have to battle the soul eaters. Oh my God. We have to talk about the soul eaters because,
Yes.
or the times when the dead are attracted to them and they have to fight off the wraiths. These like people who are stuck in the different levels because they can't pass. That is so
Oh,
heartbreaking to me.
it's devastating, yes. It definitely has more of a horror element to it,
Yeah.
and not in a, jump scare way,
Right.
but in a more of a cerebral way. It definitely works all of those elements. Like Morgan said, there are definitely things that you're going to run from, but I think the scariest thing is honestly seeing the people that are tormented or seeing people that they know, which we
I
will
was
get
seeing
into
people that they
also,
know.
because that is a nightmare. That's a waking nightmare.
That's so sad. That is so like, it is nothing but sad.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah, like, just walk around with a knife in your gut because that's what it feels like reading it. It's tremendous. And
mhm,
and I think all those themes, they mix very well together, but then you have 2 characters too, which Asar and Mische, while they're going through those 2 aren't warriors.
mhm,
They are strong, they are smart, they're powerful, and they have
mhm.
all sorts of resources that they can use. They still use swords, but that's not their number 1 go-to. And they have a character with them, Elias, who that's what he does every time something goes boom.
Stab it with the pokey end. It
Every
feels like his
time.
motto.
I get it, and I don't even begrudge him for it because that's his thing, but what I do begrudge him for is not listening to the people in charge when they tell you not to do the thing and you do it anyway.
Well, and talk about someone who, absolutely does not respect the hierarchy established. So he is Elias is one of, Asar's sisters. guards sent on this mission to represent her. That part was a little murky,
Mhm.
but it felt murky because Asar was like, I know what this is. I just don't need to pretend it's something else, which felt actually quite brave to me. I was like, damn, all right. Like, you're not faking it. It didn't prevent him from getting hurt by it. But he was like, all right, I can't prevent you from coming. Like, but also I am your superior in this moment. I am the Wraith Warden. I am your prince. Um, and there were just so many times where he would say, you have to stay on the path. Do not engage the things. Do not make eye contact with the guardians. And Elias would just, oh, you were telling me to do those things? Okay, I've done them.
Yes.
And now I fucked
Yes.
everything up.
But at first, and because we're seeing it from Misha's point of view,
Uh-huh.
at first, he just seems like kind of meathead, where
Yeah.
there's not really a whole lot of thought there. It is
No.
completely reactive.
Hmm.
And from her perspective, mine, I was more with the SAR. I'm immediately cynical of everyone. And I trust absolutely no one. But Misha is the opposite of me. So I'm like, no, girl. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, you go, you're gonna figure it out your way. I'm just gonna stay here. I'm just gonna stay here while you figure it out. But she wants to like him. She wants to
Right.
see the positive in him. So as a reader, I'm absorbing it from her side and going, all right, all right. I'm going to give him a chance. It's
Right.
Carissa. There's, multi-layered characters. Maybe he's going to show me something else, but I don't trust him. As far as I'm concerned, I'm with Asar. He's a spy. He's here
Yeah. This
for
is her.
his reasons, and that's it. But even if he was here just a spy, he still would need to follow those rules in order to stay alive.
Yeah, again, the like survival skills of it being the questionable part. Like he thinks like I'm a big strong man with a big pointy sword, like I'll be fine. And it's like you actually need more subtle protection when we are descending the levels of the underworld. Like we are not going to battle on a battlefield. We are battling wraiths and soul eaters. Like this
Things
is
that are already
so
dead. How do you kill something that's already dead, buddy?
with a pokey sword, my guy. Like, truly, he's just an idiot. Very much like the lights are on, no one is home. But he does provide a little bit of, I found it to be kind of comedic relief.
Hey, I agree. He contributed. Like, I didn't completely hate him. That's why I think I jumped on the Misha train and went, all right, I'll give him a chance.
Hmm.
Because from her point of view and what she saw and the way she absorbed his behavior, he wasn't as formidable. It was more hilarious. Oh, look at this idiot.
Right.
So, what do you think of the other character that goes to the underworld with them?
Oh,
Chandra, your
Chandra.
first, and I would like to hear what you thought the first time reading compared to now that you know.
Oh, good question. The first time I read it, I don't know that I thought about her all that much. I was like, okay, you're just this side character. Asar calls her a redundancy,
Yes.
which is really
So,
funny. So she is also an acolyte of Atroxus, the sun god, but she is a human. She is not a vampire. She is the only non-vampire. The fact that Elias was able to not feed from her feels really surprising to me. But yeah, there were no, I don't know, I just didn't think about her that much. And then on the second reread, I was like, oh, you are an important piece of this puzzle because, and she's actually quite, I found her very condescending.
mhm.
She and Misha are roughly the same age, but Misha is probably actually much older than she is, maybe 50 years older or so. And Chandra calls Misha child all the time. All the time. Like I actually, when I was rereading it, I was like, I don't know that she ever calls her by an equal reference. She never uses a word. A- And it just, I was like, oh, fuck you. I am actually really mad at you on behalf of Misha. And Misha doesn't even register it. There are a
No,
few times she refers to her as like a grandmothery type.
which is again her avoiding the fact that she's being spoken down to. I also felt very similar when I read the first time. I kind of looked at her the same way Asar did. I'm like, oh, she's just there as a redundancy, and she's kind of meh. Like I didn't like her, but then there was so many other things going on, especially when they go into the first the first level. It's like, oh, okay. I'm trying to figure out how all this works.
Mhm.
I'm absorbing a lot of information at once. When the story first kicks off, even if it's in the same world with characters, it takes me a little bit to get my footing.
Oh, yeah,
That's why,
yeah.
as much as I love Crescent City, and I know I'm not alone here because a
You
lot
are
of other
not.
people felt the same way. I still fucking loved it, but I remember reading the same paragraphs over and over again, going, I'm not going to remember this. I just need to go ahead and I will figure it out. And of course you
Yes.
do. And I
Mhm.
kind of felt like that with this at first too. So for the first, I think like couple levels while I was kind of getting the feeling and absorbing and imagining in my head what everything looked like too, I was more
Mhm.
focused on that. I forgot that she was young and human. I had completely forgotten about that. And because of the way that she spoke to Misha and because of the way that Misha referred to her too. I was
Mhm.
like, is she human? Or did I miss that? Or did they resurrect a vampire? Did I get something wrong here? Like I remember
Well,
thinking that.
and I think her humanness is something that gets overlooked frequently by the other people there, which is, again, so she's the only actually living thing that's not an undead vampire. Like, we have like the actual dead who are in the underworld, and then we have the like undead vampires who have come back to life and are immortal. And then we have humans who actually have like real blood pumping through their body. It blows my mind that we forget, but then she becomes a good barometer, Chandra does, of the impact on everyone's bodies as they are descending these levels because she gets impacted the most. She's
Mhm.
literally the farthest away from life with every level that they descend. So that ends up being cool, but she's not nice. She's so judgmental. She's so condescending to Misha. And I think Misha's being raised in the priestesshood as an acolyte, I think leads to this, where she is more respectful than maybe is earned by these older female priestesses. And so she automatically assumes that Chandra is sort of like above her, but she's not at all. It's okay. Like, stand in your own.
She even
Mm.
considers confessing to her about her secret fucking mission because
Yeah.
she thinks, oh, well, I'm here for this. So he probably just went to her too. But also, what's so fucking crazy about that is on one end of the spectrum, she will sit there and realize that she was very, very important to her God.
Mhm.
And she is special. She's one of
Mhm.
his brides.
Mhm.
And then on the other hand, she also will sit there and be like, I'm not important at all. I'm one of many, and everybody else who does the same thing is actually more important than me.
Well,
And
and I think some of that is the grooming, right? Which
Mhm.
is the intentional confusion of that, right? Like, the faith demands me unyielding faith, right? Like, I must show up constantly as subservient. But then I am selected as better. And there's an interesting piece. There are a few interludes that we get that are these flashbacks for Misha back to her time as a human acolyte of Atroxus, where no one actually explains it to her. Like, no one actually tells her, you are special. But then I'm expected to act like I am special. I'm expected to act in these ways. It's very, like, I understand her confusion in that and her innocence in that.
Oh yeah, I think it's the second interlude where
Mm.
we right away already start to see some of the glass ceiling starting to shatter a little bit with the goldfinches.
Yeah, the birds.
Yes. So we start seeing her confusion right away because she is pious as can possibly be.
Mhm.
She loves where she's at. She's happy to be here. She's enthusiastic. She's willing. She's like, this is a great world. It's so much better than where I've been. It's
Mhm.
safe for
Yeah.
her and her sister. So
Mhm.
she's like all about this. And then she falls in love with these goldfinches, these birds.
Mhm.
And she finds out that the priests are killing them.
Well, because
Also,
they're considered pests,
yep.
right?
And this
Someone
is
brought them into the world and they are considered pests now.
and they're just living beautiful things, and she's like, "I don't understand it," but she also asked one of them before if you kill them? Like, why would you do that? And one
Mhm.
of them lied to her and said that they did not.
Yeah.
And it's a moment where you can almost, like, feel the resistance from her because she wants to explain it, but also she's so emotionally broken by it that she can't
Mhm.
talk herself out of it or find a way to avoid it. So there's a crack, and that's
Mhm.
that's where it starts. And then the vampire, there was a vampire of someone that she knew.
Mhm.
It was someone she knew, and so they were turned.
Yeah, right? Like, the part of the priesthood, I guess we'll call it, is sort of cleansing the human lands and protecting them. So anytime a vampire comes to the human lands, it is considered a great threat, which technically it is. Someone must have sort of broken ashore and turned a few acolytes. And she has to witness her sister murder this vampire in the name of their god. And it is another one of those cracks in her belief, cracks in her faith, where she's like, I don't know. What are we doing? I don't understand. I thought all of God's children are redeemable. All of God's children, these God's children's, are savable. And you are telling me that these people aren't.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because he wasn't born a vampire. He was turned. I believe he was one of the members of their religious temple. So she's like, but also he was devout to you. So why should he suffer
Mhm.
this? And those are natural questions to ask. When you're willing to be open and discuss those things, then I think maybe your religion probably isn't harmful because you are open to criticisms and open to the fact that people may feel differently. That's not what happens.
Oh, no, no.
No, no,
No,
no, no,
no.
no, no, no.
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 In
We
this
don't.
world, we are to assume that the gods demand blind faith.
It's not just Nyexia. As we learned at the end of The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, she is not the only vicious, scary god.
She is
So
not.
it seems to me the gods that we've heard about or learned about so far, they're all kind of rat bastards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think even Misha will acknowledge their imperfections. It's interesting in Songbird because she is a child bride. I'm going to keep saying child because she was married to him at 16.
As a child.
She was a child. Because she was a child bride of Atroxus, she actually spent a lot of time with him. Like, I think she says at one point it's like once a month he would come visit
Yeah.
her. That's frequent. In all of Serpent and the Wings of Night and Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, we see Nyaxia 2 times. 2 times. And that's over the course of 2 years. That's a lot. She sees him once a month. He has become more real to her, even though he is godly and otherworldly.
They're also having a sexual relationship.
Yeah, apparently not a very satisfying one. It was such a good moment of
I
comedic relief that, like, you as an adult woman reader need in this story because you're like, okay, we're talking about literal child grooming and child abuse. Like, this is intense. And she's like talking to one of her other acolytes, and she's saying something about like her first or second sexual experience with Atroxus. And apparently it was kind. It was not gross or manipulative in any way other than the fact that she was a child. That's a hard line to hold, just to be clear. But it is true. Like, he doesn't force her. There's
He's
no
not
like
violent with
he's
her.
not violent with
No.
her, right? It is consensual, I would call it. But she's
Yes.
talking to this acolyte and she's like, this is what people fight wars over? It reminded me of right, the sort of like stereotype or trope of women coming together to complain about their men and their husbands, and sort of like someone being like, what are you talking about? Like, you shouldn't be talking about him like that. It was fun. It was funnier than that, but it was good.
It was funny and it was necessary. Also, the god sucks at sex. Most of the pictures of gods are like, I am the glorious
Right.
ever. Like it's going to be magnanimous and amazing. You would at least think that. Nope, she got the stable boy sex.
It was really funny. It was really, really quite funny. I
Uh,
appreciated that moment a lot. What was the creepiest part about descending into body for you?
it's funny because when I watch this on screen, when I see
Mm.
scary stuff on screen, it's not scary to me. But when it's in my head, it's in my head. I'm imagining it and it's living there. So I kind of visually saw it as almost not exactly, but like a Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow. Not
Mhm.
exactly looking like that, but more the vibes of the creepy eeriness of it. That I think the
Mm.
scariest part for me is the constant unknowing.
Oh, yeah.
It's the not knowing what is coming at you or what to expect, not being able to prepare and not
Mhm.
really having a lot of control. That
Mhm.
makes me, as a person reading it, feel extremely vulnerable, and I also felt like because I didn't feel like all the characters were necessarily capable. At
Oh,
this point,
yeah.
we don't know
No.
what they're capable of. We know that Misha's not a warrior.
Uh-huh.
She can hold her own for
We know that
certain.
Chandra was resurrected less than a week ago. Like,
Yeah,
and she's just a
yeah.
human. She does have magic. She has the sun magic. But I don't know that she ever had to fight. Yeah.
What about you?
I will admit, when I the first time I read this book, the mushrooms felt very Alice in Wonderland to me.
Yeah,
But
see?
then
Yeah.
on the second reread, I was like, oh, no, no, no. Mm-mm. There's nothing psychedelic about these mushrooms. These are not brightly colored mushrooms. Because she asked the question, she goes, mushrooms? Why is the journey to the underworld covered in mushrooms? Which is another wonderful, innocent, curious Misha moment. And he goes, well, what did you expect to show up in a land of decay and rot? I was like, oh, yes, these are gross mushrooms. These are not funny
Yeah.
psychedelic mushrooms. These are gross
You're
mushrooms.
not
No, there will be no Cheshire cat blowing smoke rings into the ether. Um, I will admit, I actually don't find this scary. Like, I watch scary movie. I am the opposite of you. I watch scary movies and that shit stays with me forever. I cannot read scary or watch scary movies. I also don't love reading actual horror. It is not my favorite at all because I get so scared. Whereas this is like, okay, we're doing a trek, we're doing an adventure, we're doing a journey. I can get behind it. Uh, so I actually don't get as scared reading this. But I do think entering the temple every time, because there's a temple of Alarus on every level, and that is where we find each of these relics as we go through. It's just the ways that they are hidden in each of the temples for each of the um, descent levels of the descent. Um, I actually uh, felt really absorbed in Misha's experience of empathy and pity for the Firefinch. So we find out all of these pieces of Alarus's essence that they divided in order to kill him the best that they could, but really weren't, have been hidden in parts that were hidden by Atroxus, his brother. I think they consider all the other gods their siblings, other than Alarus and Nyaxia, because that would be incestual, and I don't think there's any of that. But that's why they need the acolytes of Atroxus in order to break down to be able to engage with that magic that is toxic to vampires. Vampires can't engage with the sun. So they need acolytes of the sun god in order to safely get through it. But when she is trying to get to the Firefinch in order to get the relic inside, she has this immense moment of empathy for it. She's like, this is not what it was intended to. It was intended to be a guardian of the sanctum. It doesn't want to be here. It doesn't want to be doing this. Like, she wasn't able to do like, oh, I'm doing it a mercy by killing it. I don't think there's any like weird self-righteousness of that in this. But she gets so absorbed in the empathy and the sadness for this creature. And I was like, this is why I love Misha so much. She is such a beautiful soul inside that she can find that care even for some of the most villainous of beings.
like we said at the beginning, this has horror elements to it,
Mhm.
horror-esque feeling to it, some themes, but it's not a horror book at all. I would not put that in a subgenre even. And I think it's probably because of what you just said. It's because we're seeing it from Misha's point of view, and she isn't looking at it as, oh, she understands it's a scary, threatening place, but she sees
Mhm.
it as, look at all these tortured souls.
Mhm.
Look at all of the suffering that's here. That's what she sees. She doesn't see necessarily monsters, though there are some.
Yes. Yeah,
But
which we
but
might need to
but
talk about the soul eaters.
oh yeah, but across the board, she
Mhm.
definitely comes from a place of empathy with all of them. But this is sad. This is not anything other than sad.
I don't know, it just feels so creative to me as well that I think I'm so sucked into every like, well, yeah, how are we going to experience, right, the no spoilers yet, but um how are we going to experience breath? How are we going to experience psyche? How are we going to experience soul? Like, that's so cool.
It
It's
really is.
devastating and it's sad, but that is fascinating.
That's why I was asking you if you had read anything with underworld stuff or anything like this, because outside of Greek mythos, I can't
Yeah.
think of, I'm sure they exist. I'm not saying that they don't exist.
Right.
But Morgan and I read a lot. We read a lot
So
of
much.
fantasy. So the fact that neither of us can really come up with anything is pretty significant to say that this is a pretty original
Mhm.
dive into this kind of storytelling.
Yeah.
And surprising to me that again, there's not a lot more. We do our top 3 lists on these episodes, and that was one of the things I was thinking. I was like, maybe we could do like a top 3 underworlds, but when I started thinking, all I could come up with is Greek mythology.
I think it's one of the ways that Mische and Asar bond is their reverence of this. This is a
Yes.
beautiful thing that honestly, like humans and even vampires alike, shouldn't see, shouldn't be able to access. Asar has access because he's the Wraith Warden. It is his job not only to sort of manage the prison up top, but to also protect the gates to the underworld down below. They describe Morthrin as having these roots, and that's how they travel down through the levels and stay safe. Which, like, oh my God, thank fucking God, there are moments of safety and reprieve.
Oh my gosh, yes. So necessary. Like his houses and his little setups, yes. Oh my gosh. Like you can actually physically feel the relief when they get to one of them every
Mhm.
time.
Well, and it's a little interesting because Marissa doesn't always explain the magic. She doesn't exactly explain that, other than there are roots, and that's how we get safe. And I'm like, great, amazing,
Thank
incredible.
you. Thank
But
you for not
Asar,
explaining it. I don't need it.
exactly. I don't need it. I need it to make enough sense, but I don't need all the dirty details of it
Nope.
in order to, because then I'm going to be so hyper specific to the rules that I can't.
That's the danger of it though, and it's a
Mhm,
fine line. It's
mhm.
a fine line of if you start explaining, then as a reader, we're gonna start asking questions about everything too,
Yeah, if
because
you
we're
give a
gonna
mouse
wanna.
a cookie, you know?
Yep.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I love the way I think it's one of the ways that Asar and Misha's story is so beautiful is the way that they bond over their reverence of this thing. Like it is beautiful, it is special, it is magical in this like mystical way that we are supposed to revere. Misha has a moment where she talks about Rain kind of making fun of her for it. That like some of the mythological and like legendary things she puts too much stock in or too much energy in. And this is one of those moments she thinks like, no, Rain, I'm right. Like this is incredible. She's able to bask in the awe of it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And it makes it more special. It makes it more reverent. And I find that to be really beautiful. And that's the thing that ends up connecting her and Asar, whereas Elias and Chandra are taken away by it. Like they're certainly overwhelmed by it, but they don't have any respect for it.
No, no, they also have ulterior motives. And while Misha does, and I think that's another interesting thing that we
She
kind of
does.
should bring up too.
Hmm.
She has ulterior motives. Big old sun guy shows up after a year like a fucking asshole. Not,
Yeah.
I love you and I missed you. It's a, would you like to redeem yourself and do this thing for me? Like, and then he makes it sound like it's an honor for her to do it. And the way he twists it, and this goes back to the grooming thing too. Even though he has left her for a year, she has felt that absence so deeply because she's had him for so long. Even after she became a vampire, she's like, we got that in the Nightborn duet, is people being constantly shocked by the fact that she had this other god's power. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh.
Hmm.
And then look at her pay for it, which Asar also points out right away. Oh, your god is so
Yeah.
merciful that that's what you have to do in order to use that magic. Okay.
Yeah.
He says it.
Because
He's yeah,
every
yeah.
time she uses the flame of Atroxus as a vampire, she sustains a burn on her arms or on her hands or somewhere on her body. And the way it's described is that her entire arms, top to
Are
bottom,
just scars.
are scars and covered in these burns, which is so devastating. Because again, it's this idea that something that was completely and totally outside of her control became her fault, something for her to be punished for.
And I think that's why Asar is so perfect too, because he has all of those roots and he's a mirror to her in that way. And
Mhm.
they are the same. They have to wear that pain on the outside, and there's no way that they can avoid it. But She gets this, "Hey, if you do this for me,
Mhm.
you need to basically ruin their whole thing. You're there for sabotage." That's Misha's whole entire goal going down there. And he tells her that she will get her powers back if she does. So they even acknowledge it. I think Asar says a couple of things to her about it, like, "Oh, isn't that interesting that you got your powers back suddenly? How did that happen?" But instead of Misha being angry or asking him questions like, demanding answers from her god,
Mhm.
Atroxus, that she's been so devoted to. She's
Yeah.
given herself. It wasn't her fault she became a vampire.
Right.
She was made one against her will. She was a victim,
Mhm.
spreading his word in a dangerous place,
Mhm.
doing what he told her to do, and he punished her for the results. So instead of her saying any of those things, which I think deep down, because she's an intelligent woman, she knew all of that. But
Yeah.
because of the grooming, it was immediately never even acknowledged it. She was just so happy to be back and that he filled that void. It's like a love bomb in a way.
Mhm.
And I don't know how to really describe what that feels like unless you've experienced it. But it's like almost an alternate reality. You kind of know what's going on, but you are reacting immediately because this is the reality. What you think you are entitled to emotionally isn't real. What the person's
Right.
demanding from you is the reality. And so you have to mold yourself to that instead of them molding to you for how they've wronged you.
Well, I think that's what's interesting about seeing something so nuanced and challenging in a fantasy novel. Like he is a god. So I think the power exchange piece, which is such a big part of that you're describing, is inherent. Because he is a god, he does have more power than she does. He inherently has that power. It is both magical power and given power. He is a god. People worship him. He's a deity, right? That power exchange is more already there on the page. You don't have to explain it. With real humans, it is all about someone gaining that power, pulling it away from you. Misha never had it with him. And to be fair, when she was a child and she didn't know any better, she didn't want to.
No.
She didn't want that power. She didn't care about it. Because of course, what fucking 8-year-old does?
No, all you want is to be loved and accepted and feel safe. That's it.
Which he gave her.
Those needs were met
Mhm,
with a price.
exactly. A price that she could not have possibly consented to at 8 years old when he chose her.
An 8-year-old? No, an 8-year-old
Right.
has no ability to comprehend anything. An 8-year-old is looking for the bare necessities, and that's what she was given.
Right. Right. And so when he comes back, right, he shows up after a year to have her participate in this subterfuge. She is ready. She's wanted this. This is what she has craved. She's been begging him. She's been praying to him constantly every single night. And finally, he deigns to show up in what she views as one of the lowest moments of her life, which it
Yeah.
is. And he sweeps in with the solution. I will give you your power back. You will sort of come back into my graces if you are able to complete this impossible task that even I, a god, cannot do. Right? Like, this is another moment where
Exactly.
it's like, Misha, you hold more power than you think you do.
Mhm.
He can't kill you. He needs you to do this. He couldn't kill this other god. It's like written into not even just their laws, but I think the understanding of
Like
their magic is that they
their
can't.
their the code of their existence. Yeah.
Exactly. Which is I think that's such an interesting way, right? Like powerful beings always want to get more powerful, and yet they can't in this way. They can only do so with the love of their human following or vampire following. If you're Nyaxia. And in this, she has way more power than she even realizes.
She constantly doesn't give herself enough credit. Also, in this too, the mission probably made sense. Like it looks really good on paper. The
Hmm.
Shadowborn, she's angry at. She
Hmm.
wants revenge.
Fuck
Atroxus
them.
just watched her murk her maker,
Hmm.
like pretty brutally too. Like you, MFer, you're getting it here. We loved that scene
Oh, it was
for
beautiful.
yes, for that reason. So he sees all of this though, and then he sees her go back. I mean, it's a perfect opportunity.
Hmm.
Asar should be her enemy also, but like you said, that's not what happens is they end up finding that the two of them are
So much in common.
so incredibly similar. And
Hmm.
it's not surprising that they're down there looking at all these tortured souls, that he cares for the tortured souls, she cares for the tortured souls, because they're both fucking tortured souls.
Right. Yeah, there is also I see you, you see me. I see myself in you.
I don't think there's
Yeah.
that awareness, but I mean, it's not lost on me because of Atroxus's, inability to actually see her for who she is. Instead, he
Right.
sees her as a useful tool. He
Exactly.
doesn't realize that that is a potential outcome. Because
Mhm.
otherwise, if Asar was a monster, I think she would have absolutely followed through with her mission if she could.
Mhm. Mhm.
But we're in part 2 and she's already like, "I can do this, right? Maybe? Yeah, I can do this. No, I can." No, already she's already doubting. And I love that we get that from the beginning too.
It's so real. I don't know, I think there are moments, and I think we got it a little with Oraya, where, like, she's just brave. And, like, we find out all the nuance and why she's like that, but it's like, she's just brave. She's just this, like, fearsome warrior, assassin, blah, blah, blah. With Misha, it's like, no, that feels like a more real representation of someone who has never seen the sanctums of death before, would react to seeing the sanctums of death.
Especially with someone that still carries their humanity. It's really, really interesting to watch it unfold and also painful. And I do love,
Oh.
I said that, everything that I would do in the story, Misha does like the opposite and makes the
Mhm.
other choices. In those scenarios too, I'm usually frustrated as a reader. Not
Mm,
not because the characters are bad, sometimes because the characters are bad.
sure.
Not because the characters are bad, just because that is uncomfortable for me. I'm aware of it. That's a me thing. But because I'm like, you're doing the wrong thing. That's not the way to do it. But I don't feel that way when I'm with her. With her overt avoidance, that eats at me.
Because it's so real.
Yes, because that used to be my game. So that made me uncomfortable in a different way, but I was also aware of that. But the general like choices that she makes, it doesn't bother me. I don't get that same like discomfort inside
Mm,
because she's not me. I'm not living through her.
yeah.
She's Misha. She's so fully
Mhm.
formed that I'm just like, oh my girl. It's more of a pat her head.
Oh, they're there.
Yeah.
They're there.
Like it'll get better. I know it will. It has to. I mean,
Well,
it'll get worse before it gets better, but it's gonna get a
well, it's
lot worse.
it's interesting because her avoidance has helped her in some sense. Like, there are
That's why
ways
you do
where
it though, right? A lot of the
exactly,
times we use those coping mechanisms because they serve us for a time.
exactly. They work in some ways, and then they get to a point where they don't work anymore. And so for her, right, she's these arms that are scarred root to tip, literally. And pulling the sleeves down doesn't make them less painful. It just means you're not getting the looks or the judgment or the curiosities that you don't want. But
Well,
with
then
her,
she has
there
to
are
talk about it.
yeah. Well, right. This is the ultimate confrontation. I not only have to use this magic because that's what I'm on this journey to do, to help find and be able to unlock these relics with my sun magic, not with my vampire magic. The irony, of course, being that then unlocking her vampire magic and allowing herself to use it is the thing that helps keep her safe.
We know that deep down, she actually knows the stuff is wrong.
Oh, yeah.
She
Hmm.
knows that the things that people are pointing out might not be 100% right, but they're certainly on the path. Because if she didn't think that there was anything wrong, she wouldn't avoid it in the first place.
Right, right. But sometimes looking at that thing is so painful.
After a while, no matter what, you're going to have to face it eventually.
Oh, yeah. It's the truth of avoidance. It doesn't matter how deeply you avoid it, there will be a time where it is no longer avoidable.
Yep. Yep. And then it blows up in your face mostly.
Yeah, it's really hard. I think this duet is going to be the most heart-wrenching in a very interesting way. It's definitely the most romantic, I would say.
Yes. 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 Oh my gosh. That's the other
We have that
aspect of this
coming
that
up.
I love so much and did not anticipate at all, especially after the Rain Araya thing. But I had read Max and Tasana. So
Tasana.
I don't usually do like straight, like real head on romance. Like,
This is swoony. This is truly
oh,
swoony. The thing I think that differentiates it for me from like what I would consider like a full-on romance is how not cheesy it is.
yeah.
There's nothing cheesy about this shit. When
No,
it shows up, it is just beautiful and there, and it makes perfect sense. It flows with the nature of all of the things we have earned through this crazy fucking journey. But this is romantic.
she did that with Six Scorched Roses too. Same thing, just in brevity. That's all. She nailed it
Exactly.
there. And slaying the
Exactly.
vampire conqueror, too.
I know.
Yeah, she just gets romance. If I'm going to have romance, she needs to do it. You got to torture me, I guess.
She really does. And like technically, again, we talked about the tropes in many of our episodes. Like, this is enemies to lovers, sure. But like,
Yeah.
it's not even that they don't feel like enemies. They are, absolutely. Like, he is her prison warden, but also it's Misha, so it doesn't feel like she's a prisoner ever, even when she totally
No, no, it doesn't. She's like, I want to be your helpful prisoner. Yeah, I'm here to help. I'm here to help. I'm here on my own volition. It's fine.
Uh, Carissa, in many, many interviews, refers to Asar as number one simp Asar because he is the green flaggiest of green flag men ever.
He is. And she just writes all green flag men, too.
She
But
really
he
does.
is. He
They're
truly
enemies,
is.
but he's not a red flag. He's not morally gray. He's not.
No,
None of these things need to happen for it to have tension and for it to build to something really beautiful and feel earned.
they are natural enemies. Technically, if we look at it from his point of view, even though
Mhm.
he's not a fan of his brother,
Yeah, she murdered his brother.
he murdered his brother.
He
It's
does
true.
thank her for that, I think, at
Yeah,
one
he
point.
does. He does. He really does. But from the outside point of view and looking in, she would be an enemy just based on that alone.
Right,
Even though, he is thankful. But she didn't know that.
right.
So yeah.
Okay. Speaking of number one simp Asar, who are your top three fantasy princes?
This is so hard.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. I do have a bunch of honorable mentions. This is a list that is flexible and will probably change
Mm,
with time.
mhm.
But for this moment and right now, my number 3 is Prince Convagor from When the Moon Hatched.
Mhm.
I'm so for him. Like
I
that
love that
is
man. He's so
I
swoony.
oh my gosh. The way he loves her. Like once you find out, I do not want to ruin this book for anyone.
No.
Once you find out who they are to each other,
Mhm.
you want to talk about devastation, but
Yeah.
also
And
what
romance.
it made me immediately I hadn't even finished the book and I wanted to go back to the beginning and start it over again so I could see his character appropriately.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. He comes off as kind of almost like Khal Drogo actually riding the dragons. I love him. I love him so much. My number 2, and this is the one where I'm like, he's kind of ish, but he's a prince. Rowan Whitethorn. He is a Fae prince.
He is a Fae prince. I'm not going to fight you on it. This
Yep.
is the most vague one we've done yet. I'm not going to fight you on it. But yeah, Prince Rowan White is
He's
the
he's
prince.
my okay, we have book boyfriends. He's my
Mhm.
book husband.
Yeah,
So I'm married to him, just so you guys know. It's okay. There's a plenty of others for the rest of you.
it's true. There's plenty to go around.
Yes, just wait till our lists are done. We're only on princes today, too. And
Mhm.
number 1, this is not even the guy for me, but it is Prince Faramir from Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
Yes,
sure. This makes sense
he
for you. Yes.
he's lovely in the movie. Don't get me wrong. He's wonderful in the film. But in the book, there are a few characters that resist the ring and resist the evil of the ring. And the one
Mhm.
thing that the story teaches us is that everyone, no matter how good you are, will fall prey to the darkness of the ring. Faramir is a warrior who respects the fact that sometimes wars must be fought, but
Mhm.
it's not about the sword. It's not about the violence. It's about the people. He does not fall prey to the ring. He doesn't get tempted by it, even though he ends up letting Frodo go in the film. That never happens in the book. He
Oh.
immediately finds out who he is and he finds his mission. And then he finds that Boromir, his brother, has fallen and
Mhm.
he sends them on and he helps them. When he comes back into the House of Healing at the end and everything that happens with his father, and he's the lesser of the brothers. He's the overlooked one, but he
Mm.
is the strongest of heart. Like
No.
if you love Asar, you will love Faramir. They are in the same wheelhouse of just beautifully written men who really feel everything but are also very strong. I think he is absolutely beautiful and brilliant, and I have always and will always love him.
No. That's a good
Yeah.
list.
Thank
Well,
you.
with an
It was really
unexpected
hard.
twist there.
Yeah.
Okay. My number three is Asar from The Songbird and Heart of Stone by Chris Broadbent. He's just wonderful. And rereading it makes me fall in love with him all over again. Number 2, similar, I have Prince Khan from When the Moon Hatched by Sarah Parker. He's just, yeah, there's when you get through the reveal, which we will not spoil. Please go read it for yourself because, oh my God, it's so fucking good. When you get through that reveal, that is love like I have never seen written on a page before.
And
It's
yearning.
incredible.
Oh, the yearning.
And the heartbreak, just pure heartbreak. Anyways, my number 1 is Luther Corbois, Spark of the Everflame, Pencol. That man.
That
Oh
man.
my God, that man.
That man. She is 100% right. I felt like I was betraying him by not putting him on the list, but then I didn't want Rowan to divorce me. So
That's fair.
that's how it happened.
Well, and again, right, the argument here is how do you determine specifically a prince versus in a lot of these fantasy stories, there are other royal courts energies, which
Yeah.
is where some of my honorable mentions fall. Where it's like, yeah, you're like a duke. And I'm
That's
going
why
to count
Zayden
that.
didn't end up on my list. I'm like, oh, he's
Zayden
a
is one
duke.
of my honorable mentions for exactly that
That's-
reason. I'm like,
That's perfect. Yeah.
but for all intents and purposes, being the Duke of Tyrrendor feels like a prince in this
Yes.
world.
In that world, yes, I totally agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your honorable mentions?
Okay. Ours will definitely overlap.
Probably.
Prince Dorian, Throne of Glass. He was very close to making the top 3. Oberon Martell from Game of Thrones. He is wonderful in the book as well as the show. Daemon Targaryen in House of the Dragon. He is morally black, just as black in the book as on the show, you guys. He's the reason that I wanted to watch the show. And he's only in the book for about 100 pages.
That's fair.
He is a hell of a character.
If y'all want to hear us talk a lot about Prince Daemon Targaryen, please listen to our episode coming up about Neverkeep.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's going to be there. He's just going to be present. Because there's a character in there that is Daemon Targaryen.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Anyways, keep going.
Prince Aomer from Lord of the Rings, also in the book. Very different, but also great in the movie, but different characters. And I love him in the book. Luther, obviously. Luther, I'm so sorry you didn't end up on my list. I don't want to get divorced. Asar from, yes, Songbird. And then Nadir from Artifacts of Aranos. And then the Prince of Hell, Blackthorn from Phantasma.
Oh.
Yeah. He's a prince.
Yeah,
He's just
he
a
is
prince of darkness.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, are we talking real prince in terms of like royalty energy, or are we talking prince because that's like what people refer to them as with their like evil nickname? Who knows? Because in that way, we have my honorable mentions that you missed. Hunt Athalar, who is a Prince of Hell from Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. I also had Xaden Ryerson, the Duke of Tyrrendor, but for all intents and purposes is a prince. I had Nadir as well. I had, this one's a fun one, I had Wendell Bambleby.
Oh, that's true though. I mean,
Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. He is a prince of the Fae.
He's so adorable.
And then the only other one I had on my list that you did not was Cain, who's technically a king from A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden.
He's good. He kept me going through that second book. I had a hard time getting through the second book.
That series is that's underrated. That series, the Sacred Stones or whatever the series is called, is underrated. Dawn of Onyx is the first one. It's really good. The second book is, like Heather is saying, it's a little rougher to go through, but you have to go through that journey with Arwen, the female main character, in order to earn books 3 and 4. But it's a little brutal. But King Cain makes it.
He's
the
good.
Onyx King.
He's a dragon shifter, everyone.
He's a dragon shifter.
I love a dragon shifter.
It's so good. Okay. Heather, what are you reading right now?
Okay. So I had Then She Was Gone, recommended to me by my eldest dragon. I have dragons, not children. My eldest dragon, Brosnan's girlfriend, Alora. She recommended this to me. She said it's a mystery. I started reading the first few pages. It's about a girl who disappeared as a child and her mother and the grown children that survived it and the fallout. And I don't really know much else about it now. The characters are not particularly likable. And and even though they've lost a lot, it's really hard to have empathy for them. I've only just started like the first few chapters. So don't.
That's fair.
I'm not saying the whole book is like this. And I don't even think it's bad.
People rave about Lisa Jewell, though. Like that author foregoing my understanding of her, I've never read a single one of her books, but they're very popular right now, is that she really goes places that other authors maybe aren't willing to touch.
Yep. Yep.
And to my knowledge, she does it really well, from what I have heard.
Alarus said the same thing about a couple of the other books she read. She told me to start with this one. She said the content might be, and the other ones are icky at times. So,
Oh, icky.
so, there's incest, which she warned me ahead of time. I need to know. I
Yeah,
need
you
to know.
gotta
That's
know.
one I need to know. Yeah, that's one I need to know.
Absolutely.
But I don't mind that the characters aren't particularly likable as long as they're interesting and the story's
Exactly.
interesting.
Yeah.
So it's a mystery, and
Oh, that's cool.
I'm definitely ready for that one. What are you reading, Morgan?
I picked up finally, this one's been on my bookshelf for a while. It's called Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. I've heard a lot of things about T. Kingfisher in like the cozy fantasy realm, and it is meeting every expectation so far. I'm about halfway through. It's delightful. The female main character is not a 20-something. She is in her 30s.
Thank
She
you.
is curvy and not in a sexy, inherently sexy way. Like she is a bigger bodied woman. And what I will say to hook you in is the beginning of this book begins with her attempting suicide naked with a sword.
All right, I'm in.
I have cackled more, like had to set the book down and like laugh
Okay.
more times than I have done in a while. And never mind, the cover is actually gorgeous. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited to get
Okay.
through the rest of it. We will be back next time with our buddy read of Neverkeep by the Twisted Sisters, Caroline Peckham, and Susan Valenti.
And that's been our show. Stay filthy. Your hosts, producers, and audio sources are Heather Baxendale and Morgan DeRocher, who somehow make this show happen with a combination of enthusiasm and a lot of emotional damage. Our theme music is Magistar by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. You can find A Pod of Wings and Filth on all major streaming platforms, and our home base is at Podomatic. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at A Pod of Wings and Filth for updates and fun content. And don't forget to check out the show notes for important links. If you're loving the pod, please give us a follow or drop a rating. Your support keeps the magic alive and helps other romantasy readers find us.